Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome at Autodrom Most. Maybe just as Formula One started their summer break, we decided that we didn't know what that meant, and we keep on racing. We are here in the northern Bohemia, and right underneath the Hněvín Castle, and we are starting this racing weekend with the first race of the Suzuki Swift Cup for this weekend. My name is Pavel Fabry and I will be your commentator for Saturday, Sunday. Lots of races coming up, lots of classes, lots of categories, lots of racing action here at Most, and we are on the starting grid currently with the Suzuki Swifts. You've just seen the starting order, the starting grid. We had the qualifying earlier on today, not only for the Suzuki Swift, but of course for all the other categories as well. It's been quite difficult and challenging for some of the drivers because it was slightly raining in the beginning of the day. Now the weather is beautiful, the sun is out, the track is dry, and we are now leaving for the formation lap. The final excursion for all the drivers, just to check that the tires are ready, the brakes are ready, their heads are ready, and to make sure that everything is working properly. Of course, once again, two different classes, 1.4, 1.6. They are sharing the same starting grid, but they are starting a little bit apart from one another. And it's Jean-Bor Pinter on pole position. Alongside him on the front row of the starting grid, Moritz Čermej, row number 2, Fabian Di Bionka, and alongside Oskar Maršalkovský, István Bernula and Balázs Hartmann on row number 3. P7, that is Gábor Foraj, alongside him Marton Čuzy, Ton Knappen P9, Vince Keller in P10 from Max Knappen and Bastian Frischmann. That is the top 12 starters. Behind them Maciej Šupčinský, alongside Boris Lisiecký, Zoltán Čuty, Egon Burkuš, Greta Gal and Ferenc Hartmann. So 18 cars on the starting grid as we are heading towards the very fast right-hander, and then right underneath the Orlen gantry, we are getting to the tighter and twistier section of the track. A little bit difficult here to overtake, but still so many battles going on here pretty much in every single race. These sweeping corners, snaking corners, left, right, left, right. It's so easy to make a mistake here, so easy to open the door for somebody else, even as you are basically trying to actually find the best racing line there is. You've got to keep your eyes also on your rearview mirrors just to make sure that nobody is coming for a surprise overtake, which they can. And now through the final two right-handers onto the start and finish straight to complete the lap. 4,212 meters is the length of the track here in Most. The race is 20 minutes plus 1 lap long, as usual for the Suzuki Swift Cup Europe. The drivers are now taking their grid slots on the starting grid.
Swift Cup Europe už se nám po zaváděcím kole řadí na startovním roštu, takže nás čeká první ze závodu.
And we will be racing. This is the first race of the weekend, of course, so the qualies are done pretty much. And we've got the Swifts, we've got then GT Racing, TCR Racing, Formula 4, Clio Cup, Twingo Cup, everything that you love, everything that you've come for, waiting for you on our Saturday program here in Most. You'll notice that we are leaving out one of the rows on the grid just to split the two fields of the 1.4 and 1.6 classes. These cars have a slightly different performance levels, so we just want to make sure that everything is happening in a safe manner. The red lights are on, the red lights are off, and we are racing here in Most. And it's Moritz Čermej in the predominantly yellow car, taking the lead immediately right after the start from Zsombor Pinter, who was slightly slower off the line. And now this is the first opportunity to make a move, but also make a mistake, as a couple of drivers have done. So we've got a crash, we've got an off-track gravel trap excursion immediately. This is a car number 501, Fabian Di Bionca, who was really optimistic into the first corner. As they say, the race usually isn't won in the first corner, but it can be lost there. And we keep on going with Moritz Čermej leading the way in his predominantly yellow car number 507. Behind him it should be Zsombor Pinter. So it's a Hungarian 1-2 for the moment, and it seems as though these two drivers have already pulled away slightly from the rest of the pack. We have got the car number 501, Fabian Di Bionca, leaving the spot of his opening lap contact, opening lap clash. And we have got a safety car on the track. So immediately the first race of the weekend will get neutralized by the so-called full course yellow flag. Safety car is out. Not really sure if we actually need it, because Fabian Di Bionca, who was left stranded in the middle of the road in the first chicane at first, got his car going, which means that he's left the scene of the accident. And as I'm trying to check all the other cameras, I do not see any other reason for any other stoppage. Okay, so let's check that from the drone view. Beautiful stuff. And Fabian Di Bionca, he actually got tagged from behind, as the drone view showed us. Wonderful, wonderful camera that we have got there, just to keep us updated on what exactly happened and to whom. And we also had one other car, I believe that may have been István Bernula, skipping across the gravel trap in the opening chicane and rejoining in a bit of a wild manner right into the pack. Luckily, no further incident happened. Luckily, no further accident, and we can keep on going. So we have got Moritz Čermej leading the way from Zsombor Pinter, István Bernula in third. Then it is Ton Knappen, who has moved up by a number of places. Great start from Tom Knappen. Let me check very briefly. Ton Knappen was in ninth on the grid, and this is Fabian Di Bionca trying to chase the rest of the pack as he got going again. He can now use the safety car period to catch up with the rest of the field. I still believe there might be some debris on the track. That is probably why we still have the safety car. There were bits and pieces off, I would actually think, a black car, and I see on one of the cameras one of the brave track marshals running across the gravel, running onto the track, collecting that big piece of bodywork, and he's got his first souvenir of the weekend, cost-free. Okay, so let's take a look at the start once again. Zsombor Pinter and his slow getaway off the line. Immediately Moritz Čermej went into the lead, and this must have been István Bernula skipping across the gravel. So lucky that he didn't collect anyone else. Fabian Di Bionca, of course, facing the wrong way, which is not what you want right at the start. Fabian Di Bionca starting the race from third on the grid. Wasn't really expecting this change of events, or let's say hoping for this change of events. Actually, when you're racing in Most and you are starting the race into the first chicane, you've got to be expecting trouble. And the safety car is now returning back to the pit, so we will get going once again. here in Most. So it is Moritz Čermej in first in that predominantly yellow car from GFS Racing Team. Zsombor Pinter, his car prepared by Hungarian Mira Squad, and behind him István Bernula with that black car with the cyan roof. Overtaking attempt into the opening chicane. It sort of invites you into trying something, but you've got to really make sure that you're not overly optimistic under braking and you do not crash into somebody else. But it seemed to me that both drivers missed the apex of the first right-hand part a little bit, as they were really trying to leave it very late for the braking in their fight for P2 currently. So it is Zsombor Pinter still prevailing over István Bernula. Ton Knappen in fourth from Balázs Hartmann. Vince Keller up to P6, having started from further down the grid. Bastian Frischmann in seventh from Oskar Marszalkowski. He didn't really get the greatest of starts and greatest of opening laps. He was fourth on the grid, and the Polish driver currently down in eighth from Gabor Foraj, Marton Csuzy in 10th, and Max Knappen in P11. Maciej Szubczynski leading the way in the 1.6 class. We saw one of the cars back in the pits. That was a car number 544, Zoltán Csuty. His bonnet is up. Mechanics are trying to find a route of whatever the problem is there. But one thing is for sure right now, Zoltán Csuty isn't really going anywhere at the moment. So we're slowly reaching the halfway mark of the race. That will be the 10-minute mark, but then still the +1 lap that we are expecting right at the end. Moritz Čermej in first, and it starts to look like Zsombor Pinter has shaken off the pressure from István Bernula a tiny little bit, and he is now chasing after Moritz Čermej. This is a beautiful fight further down the field. That's Bastian Frischmann under attack from Gabor Foraj. Gabor Foraj managed a great slipstream along the start and finish straight, but then the Austrian competitor was way more aggressive under braking. Still made the chicane look how the cars go dancing under braking, as they are really absolutely on the edge of the tire grip. Gabor Foraj trying unconventional ways to overtake, pushing his opponent a tiny little bit, giving him a tiny little kiss on the rear bumper. We've got to change right behind them, as Max Knappen has just dealt with Marton Csuzy, moves himself up to 10th for the moment and chases after the other two drivers. There's been a swap as well, so Bastian Frischmann losing a place to Gabor Foraj right now. Now under the Orlen we go into the right-hander. This ribbon of tarmac snaking through the corners into the last sector. And this is the fight for the lead. So the second half of the race is bound to be interesting. You might notice changes of curbs for this year in the final sector. The inside and also outside curbs. Now it is Moritz Čermej coming under pressure from Zsombor Pinter, the qualifying winner, who's trying to slot his car down the inside, but there's no space left from Moritz Čermej. He's gluing his yellow car to the inside line to prevent that overtake from happening, and managing to do so for the moment, for the time being. So Moritz Čermej still in the lead from Zsombor Pinter. Now through the middle part of the track, back into the hairpin. Complicated, very technical sector, where choosing the correct line isn't the easiest of jobs on hand. You can really gain a lot, but you can also lose a lot. This is the very, very complicated, but it actually doesn't look like that, but it's a very complicated quick right-hander. It's the notorious turn number 7, and it's just so fast. It's so easy to lose it. And there we go again for the lead. Pinter trying to find his way through. Moritz Čermej shutting the door in the last possible minute. We've got a car number 505 under investigation for causing a collision. That was presumably from the opening lap. Balázs Hartmann, who pushed Fabian Di Bionca into the spin on the opening lap of the race. Look how sideways we're going. This is István Bernula in third from Balázs Hartmann, the driver under question, under scrutiny now from the race control and the stewards. And down the pit straight we go. We've got two battles, one for first, one for third. Moritz Čermej still holding on to the race lead. István Bernula holding on to third. We have got the yellow and red flag, or the stripy flag, showing the drivers that there's still some debris left on the track. But the race continues. We are already firmly in the second half of it, and Moritz Čermej is still face an uphill struggle, really, to make it to the end of the race, still leading, because he's coming under huge pressure from Zsombor Pinter. Zsombor Pinter definitely not very happy about losing the first place at the start. He got a slow getaway, not the best of reactions probably, or maybe a little bit too much of a wheel spin. Now through the quick right-hander we go. István Bernula currently under more of a pressure from Balázs Hartmann. Don Knappen now in 5th from Vince Keller. Oskar Marszalkowski already up to 7th from Gabor Forajt. Marton Čuzy, Max Knappen and Bastian Frischmann, who's dropped down to 11th. We have got Fabian Di Bionca, who's already made his way through the 1.6 class cars, the slower ones, and the other class led by Boris Lisiecki from Maciej Szubczynski. So into the final two right-handers we go. Zsombor Pinter looking very racy at the moment. He's got the pace, he's got time, he just has to make the move stick. There we go along the pit straight. Make no mistake, the slipstream really works even for the Suzuki Swifts. Look at the late move under, well, not under braking, but late move from Moritz Čermej. Now they're going side by side into the first chicane, and Zsombor Pinter managing to stick his car on the inside into the second part of the chicane, just like Balázs Hartmann. So two successful overtakes happening in the first chicane right now, and it is Zsombor Pinter pushing his car through into the race lead ahead of Moritz Čermej, who is now trying to return the pressure. We have got Balázs Hartmann ahead of István Bernula in the fight for third. Look at Moritz Čermej trying to fight back immediately. So great stuff, great racing right from the get-go. Already the first race of the weekend does not disappoint. And it looks to me as though this couple of pairs, I would say, is now getting closer together. So it's a, we can even call it top 4 battle right now for the race victory and all the podium spots. Visit Czechia. If you've done, you can be watching this thrilling battle together with us here in Most. If not, we are welcoming you once again and very happy that you're with us through the live stream. We'll be on air the entire weekend for all the races happening here. So make sure that you do not miss any of the action. Jean-Bor Pinter this time coming under pressure. Moritz Schermay making a switch back. This is he's leaving it extremely late. Completely misses the first chicane, comes out of the gravel in the lead, but he's got to concede it. He's got to give it back, which he has done. He didn't even have pace. That was overly optimistic. He completely missed his braking spot, braking point, and yeah, he could actually be happy that he didn't beach it in the gravel and he can still get going. Well, keep going. The trouble is for him that he's now dropped it all the way to 4th. So it is Jean-Bor Pinter still in the lead, but now it's Balázs Hartmann up to 2nd with his front bumper actually loose on the right-hand side. You can see the piece of bodywork flapping around, but that is definitely not stopping the Hungarian driver from wanting more. Everything is still open in the fight for the race victory. So great fight right away. And through the final 2 right-handers we go back onto the start and finish straight. This is going to get interesting once again. Slipstreaming battle along the pit straight. Balázs Hartmann currently a little too far behind, I would say. So not really launching any attack. Jean-Bor Pinter holding on to the race lead. The car number 523, that is Marton Ciusi. Under pressure from Fabian Di Bianca, the guy that found himself facing the wrong way on the opening tour of the race, is now, well, he's already worked his way through the second part of the field, the 1.6 cars, but now he's entering battles with the rest of the pack. But unfortunately, of course, he's not really got a lot of time left. He's dealt with Marton Ciusi into the first chicane, so stole the ninth place off his hands. However, there's not much time left for him to claw back a lot more. Car number 500, that's Egon Burkush in your view, and this is the car number 571, Maciej Szubczynski, who is also not the race leader. We've got another car further up the road, and that would be Boris Lisiecki, the car number 555. That's the current race leader. Among the 1.6 cars, they seem to be torn apart a little more from one another. There's about a second difference between the 2 Polish drivers leading the 1.6 class. Oh, but this isn't over. This isn't over, and with just under 2 minutes left on the clock, we've still got Jean-Bor Pinter in the lead, but only just. Balázs Hartmann still getting his appetite ready. He's hungry for more. He wants to win this one. Ooh, dropping 2 wheels over the edge of the curb, still somehow holding it right before the gravel trap. So that was the widest of exits he could have possibly taken through there. Still, he finds himself too far back. He's trying a very aggressive, very late braking move. They very nearly touched through the first part of the opening chicane, but no change in the order. That was not a proper attack. It was just a slightly different racing line, slightly different approach to drive through the first couple of corners. Jean-Bor Pinter trying to make his small Swift as wide as possible in the dying moments of the race. look at the car just understeering through the corners. They're really trying, absolutely on the edge of the tire grip. Fantastic race between these two, as they are really trying to even make the entry into the corner as wide as possible, just touching the bollard. Now under the gantry into the right-hander. Balázs Hartmann will try to make everything ready. He's using the curbs as much as he possibly can, trying to find the shortest way around the track here. Lining up for another move. The time is up, but we will have that +1 lap still ready for us. So we're bound to have one more lap in this race. Through the final two right-handers. This is still for the race lead. This is still for the race victory. And with that, we have got just over 4 kilometers left. Should not be the end of the race. No, 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 the checkered flag isn't out. As I said, this is the final lap. But still, Zsombor Pinter actually doing great job exiting the final corner. He didn't allow Balázs Hartmann into any chance once again down the pit straight, then through the first chicane, and time is literally ticking down for Balázs Hartmann. I mean, the time for the race is over, but every single corner that we take now is the final drive through that specific corner in this race. So not that many chances still awaiting Balázs Hartmann. If he wants to make a move, he's got only a couple of potential possibilities left. There's one of the slower cars making way for the race leaders. That's great discipline, following the blue flags, being waited for him. Oh, look at this, even with a little bit of a touch. Balázs Hartmann is now trying to push Zsombor Pinter out of the way, putting two wheels on the grass, really cutting the left-hander. He really wants that lead, he really wants that victory, but Zsombor Pinter making a great job in his defense. And now only through the final two corners, Zsombor Pinter has done everything correctly in the second part of the race. He got a slower start to it, but then climbed back onto the race lead. And Zsombor Pinter takes victory in the opening race here at Autodrom Most. Great race, great, thrilling, exciting action to open this weekend with. For the first race of the Suzuki Swift Cup Europe, Balázs Hartmann coming home second from Moritz Csermely, who spent the opening laps in the race lead. In the end, still holding on to a podium position, but in the end only third. István Bernula making it 4 Hungarian drivers in all top 4 positions in this race. Coming home P4, Ton Knappen, the Dutch driver P5, Vince Keller in 6th from Oskar Marszałkowski. Fabian Di Bionca made his way up to 8th in the end. So good fight back, but he will be definitely left disappointed having started from 3rd. Gábor Foraj in 9th, Marton Csuzy completing the top 10 from Max Knappen and Bastian Frischmann. Then the 1.6 class, we still have the drivers on the road. They are still going for it, but coming across the line one by one, and now we've got them over the line. Boris Lisiecki victorious from his countryman Maciej Szubczynski. Egon Burkuš coming home 3rd from Greta Gaal, who's still on the racing lap, about 20 seconds from the lap end. But will come home 4th in the class. Ferenc Hartmann in P5, and Zoltán Csúti retired from the race very early on with technical trouble. Wow, what a race this was to open the weekend with. We've got a lot more coming up, so make sure that you're here for it. We have got the first GT sprint coming right after this race. And We'll try to make our way onto the starting grid right before it. Then we have got TCR Eastern Europe coming up next after the GT Sprint. Then the first race of the Formula 4 Central European Zone. After that, the first race of Renault Clio Cup. Then we'll make a bit of a break for the Renault Twingo Cup Quali. And to top the day off with the 1 hour long endurance race, as you are used to on a Saturday's program in the Eset Cup series. So results coming up on the screen in graphics with Jombor Pinter victorious after great battle with Balázs Hartmann and Moritz Csermay. It's a complete Hungarian podium for you to open the weekend with. And with that, for now, it will be, from me, a very warm but also very quick goodbye.